afternoon, everyone. This is Chris Riley with System Source. Thanks so much for taking the next 30 minutes with us for the information on Wi-Fi 7. So I'm joined today by Kyle Stokes, who's a technical solutions specialist with Cisco Meraki, and he'll be doing the bulk of the presentation today. Also joining us today, and will be available in the chat for any questions that you might have, is Lindsay Cleese. As an account executive, she handles Maryland, as well as, not listed on the screen, is Megan Dutchison, and Megan handles the Pennsylvania area as an account representative for Cisco Meraki. And we all work together as a team to be able to bring you the Cisco Meraki solutions that you might need. So this is a 30-minute webinar. If you've been with us before, you'll recall that most of our webinars are 1 hour. So we're trying to do a number of these sessions that are kind of a 30-minute session where we can kind of give you a whole lot of information really quickly. So we'll make sure we dive right in and make sure we keep the time focused on the content. So Kyle will be looking at kind of the whole Wi-Fi standards, really kind of saying what's Wi-Fi 7 all about. He'll also kind of let you know what are some of the best use cases that you ought to consider Wi-Fi 7 for. So, based on where you are, is it time to move to Wi-Fi 7? Well, that's dependent upon what use case that you might have. Also, we'll be taking a look at what do you need to be thinking about as you plan ahead for Wi-Fi 7, particularly for Power over Ethernet requirements. They're different, and you need to take a look at your switches for that as well, but Kyle will dive more into that. And then we'll also take a look at what those Cisco Meraki offer in the way of access points, switches, those types of things. And he'll have some other information in there as well. A little bit of housekeeping. So the first thing is we hope you have your pizza. If you've asked for one, if you don't have your pizza, just be patient a few minutes and maybe trying to find your home or office. If you're at your office, sometimes the front door to offices are locked. You may want to check to make sure that the delivery person is not on the other side of that locked office door as well. And you can note Julie Dellinger's email address on the screen. She can help answer pizza conundrums for you. If it still doesn't arrive, just reach out to her, please. Some other housekeeping notes during the webinar: the audio is in presentation mode, so you can hear me and you'll hear Kyle shortly. However, we can't hear you, but that's on purpose, not because we don't want to hear you, but it also keeps any background noise where participants may be from coming through the whole group. But I'll be monitoring the chat the whole time, as well as the questions tab, and you can drop your comments or questions right into the questions or chat tab. Put those questions into the questions tab, because that allows us to be able to take care of those questions at the end. I'll read them out for Kyle, or Lindsay or Megan may have been able to answer them during the course of the session. It also allows us to be able to get back to you if it's something that's a little bit more involved or we can't get to everything during the session. This webinar is being recorded. You'll also get a PDF of this presentation, so you don't have to write furiously. And there is an evaluation at the end, so you can let us know two things. One is how we did, but also what else you might need, and there's some choices there, or just write in what you need. And we'll pull pull one of the completed evaluations, and then that person can pick whether they want a $50 Amazon card or same $50 card to their favorite restaurant. You tell us which restaurant that is. So we try to keep it a little bit fun, and we appreciate your taking a moment to do the evaluation. Literally just takes about a minute. So we do have a lot of new folks. Just a minute on System Source. So we've been around since 1981. There's about 70 of us here. We work with clients from South Central Pennsylvania, all through Central Maryland, and down into the DC area. So lots of folks come to us when they need to acquire new technologies. So that could be in-user computing, laptops, printers, desktops, those types of things. But most of the work that we do, the bulk, is happening in the data center. So whether that's in the traditional on-prem data center or in the cloud. So most of our work is happening today in Microsoft Azure, also in Amazon Web Services, plus wherever other servers can live, whether those are software as a service, whether those are hosted at various facilities, including ours, yours, hosting centers, wherever your data and compute and security types of things live, we can try to help in those areas for that modern data center. And a lot of what we're doing is going to be in switches, it's going to be in wireless technology, as well as in servers, virtualization, the whole Microsoft stack, et cetera. So folks are acquiring because they really need to improve. We mentioned a little bit about cloud services. Consulting is where our top level talent lives to design solutions in the data center. We also have a training center that has about 600 plus courses, all available remotely in about three dozen different technologies and manufacturers, including Cisco, as well as our Present group, which is our code word for professional AV. So all the Teams rooms, WebEx rooms, Zoom rooms, so all the large monitors, projectors, microphones, speaker systems, digital signage, all of those types of things come into our professional AV group under Present. And finally, we maintain these things either on a reactive basis, you call us when things go bump, under service and support, as well as managed services where we are the IT department for dozens of clients in this area. And under service and support, whether you have a contract or those types of things with us or not, we're still available 7/24. You can call in after hours or during the hours. But after hours, just follow the voicemail prompts, and that will get you the on-call person. So we do have some upcoming webinars, just very briefly. So we have one coming up next week that's about Teams rooms. We also have one next week that's going to be on email security. And then on the following week, we are going to be looking into cybersecurity predictions for this year. But more importantly, how can we protect ourselves against those unfortunate trends? So those are some of the things. I'll drop the links in the chat as well while we're meeting today. Let me go ahead and hand the reins over to Kyle, please.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Pleasure to virtually meet everybody. Like Chris said, I'm Kyle Stokes. I am a technical solution specialist at Cisco Meraki. So I am very excited to talk to you guys today about Wi-Fi 7. I know you guys are enjoying your pizza, so I will try to keep this as engaging as possible. So Chris briefly run over it, but some of the agenda items that we're going to talk about today is Wi-Fi 7 as a standard, and some of the benefits that it brings and enhances from Wi-Fi 6 and Wi-Fi 6E. Second, we'll talk about our current Wi-Fi 7 portfolio offering at Cisco, some of the power requirements that are going to be needed for Wi-Fi 7, our new licensing model, and then last but not least, some of the new features that we've brought to the Meraki dashboard that aren't necessarily Wi-Fi 7 dependent, but whenever we release new hardware, we always try to improve the software and add in more features to the dashboard as well to continuously add value. So that being said, just want to level set for a second and just introduce Wi-Fi 7 as a standard. I always like showing this graphic to kind of show over the years where we've kind of come from in terms of, or how we've improved in terms of our wireless capabilities. So over the course of time, obviously more devices need to be able to communicate with each other, and we've seen Wi-Fi evolve from from its earliest days in a single spectrum to where it's at now, to serving 3 spectrums to be able to support high density and high bandwidth applications. I thought a cool visual that would kind of bring this home a little bit as we kind of explore how far we've evolved from a wireless standpoint is not only to just look at the wireless standards, but look at some of the first devices to adopt these standards. And so as I was kind of preparing this presentation, I did a little bit of research and went back and was trying to see who were some of the early adopters of wireless. And this first picture here is a picture of Steve Jobs presenting the iBook G3 laptop at an Apple conference. And in early days, Apple was a very early adopter of a lot of the wireless, the latest and greatest wireless standards that were available at the time. So as he's doing this unveiling, wireless is very new at the time. So what he actually does is he has like a hula hoop twirling around the laptop to kind of show that wireless connectivity is not getting interrupted, even with an object directly in front of it. And so from there, we've kind of expanded on with the second generation. Example of that was like the IBM ThinkPads, if any of you guys remember that. Then continuing from there with when Apple released their Airport Extreme, which was kind of like the first version of like a residential gateway that had wireless capabilities, but it was like kind of like a built-in wireless access point, but it had some Ethernet ports on it as well, so you could use it as a switch. And then I'm sure you guys are obviously familiar with everything from Wi-Fi 4 on from the iPad to the Xbox, the newest iPhones, and then with Wi-Fi 7 now, the latest PS5 Pro that was announced at the end of last year. If there's any gamers out in the audience. But I mean, the use cases for Wi-Fi 7 are vast, and it spans multiple industries, right? Including industrial IoT, augmented reality, virtual reality applications, immersive learning. With the hybrid work environment that we are in now, we're getting more bandwidth intensive collaboration applications. So we need the right infrastructure to support high speed, low latency environments. And so this is the perfect opportunity, as client devices start supporting the standard, to position these to customers. A little bit of a technical slide here, not going to cover too much in detail here, but just want to briefly highlight some of the efficiencies that Wi-Fi 7 builds on from the previous wireless standard. First being, we're going to have wider channel bandwidths, supporting 320 megahertz. Wider channels means more data will be able to be sent on that channel. 4K QAM. QAM is, in a simplified way, it's an advanced modulation scheme that is used to convert the digital data into a radio signal. And the 4K on top of that represents the number of possible data points that can be used in that modulation process, which was a significant increase from Wi-Fi 6, which was only 1,000 data points. And the last but not least is multi-link operation, MLO. This is going to give clients the ability to send and transmit, or to send and receive data in more than one band at a time. So for example, if I have a laptop connected to an access point, I can send data on the 5 gigahertz band and the 6 gigahertz band simultaneously. So this is not only going to improve speed, but it's also going to improve reliability to ensure that the data that is being sent is being sent and received accurately. And so I've kind of summarize this into 3 buckets, right? Improved security, improved throughput, and improved intelligence. Now, I've talked about the throughput a little bit. Wi-Fi 7 also improves security as well. The 2 standards that are listed below have better encryption and authentication algorithms that are used when clients are connecting and getting authenticated to the access points, as well as advanced encryption algorithms for when data is being sent to and from the client in the access point. And then improved intelligence. This kind of speaks to some new features that we've added in the dashboard to complement our Wi-Fi 7 portfolio, such as AI radio resource management, intelligent packet capture features, and then a new software feature called Cisco Spaces that we're also introducing into the dashboard as well. So let's dive a little bit first into what our wireless portfolio consists of today, right? And so this is grouped into 2 families. We have the 9176 and the 9178, which are our Wi-Fi 7 models. The 76 family is grouped into 2 models. We have the 76i and the 9176D1. The I indicates that it has an internal omnidirectional antenna, which is going to fit most use cases, but we also have a directional indoor or integrated antenna as well. And those use cases are going to be if you are trying to shoot RF coverage down a long hallway, or if you have a warehouse and you're trying to shoot it down an aisle, or you have high ceilings. Those would all be use cases for a directional access point antenna. Now, in the 9176 family, it's going to have 5 radios, one for the 2.4 band, one for the 5, and one for the 6, along with a dedicated IoT radio and a scanning radio that serves to look for rogue access points, as well as the ability to communicate with other access points that are deployed in your network. Next, UWB. That is a wireless technology that's going to allow for very precise and accurate location tracking, right? This is the same technology that's used in Apple AirTags. So this is going to be an important feature in that Cisco Spaces feature that I talked about on that last slide. And then lastly, it's going to have a single 10 gig port to connect into a switch. The only difference between the 9176 and the 9178 is the 9178 has an additional radio in the 5 gigahertz band. So it has one in the 2.4, two radios for the 5 gigahertz band and one for the 6. And then it will also have a dual 10 gig port uplink for redundancy. So you can either port channel them, or you can kind of have an active standby operation for that connection to the switch. Now, I do want to highlight that note at the bottom. It says both of these will require more than 30 watts of power for full radio operation. So that means that we need to have power sourcing equipment to be able to support these Wi-Fi 7 access points. So what I want to do is talk a little bit about what that means. So typically, PoE is grouped into 3 categories. You have just regular PoE, which has a reservation for 15 watts. You have PoE Plus, which has a reservation for 30 watts. And then in Cisco terms, we have what we call UPoE. Another term that I've heard in the industry is PoE++, but that's a standard for anything that supports greater power usage greater than 30 watts. So this is what's going to be needed in order to support the full radio capabilities of Wi-Fi 7. And so these tables that I have listed here depict if you're using 15 watts versus 30 watts versus a power supply of a reservation of more than 30 watts, what those capabilities look like. So that is not to say that if today you're getting these new access points, but you have a switch that only supports 30 watts PoE, that you cannot use the Wi-Fi 7 access point. It just means that there will be some limited functionality. As we can see, you don't get the full number of spatial streams in a 2.4 gigahertz radio, and the mgig port speed goes down from 10 gig to 2.5. Whereas obviously, if you have power supply that power sourcing equipment that is greater than 30 watts, then you will be able to access the full feature and radio set of the Wi-Fi 7 access points. This is another table that pretty much more or less shows the exact same thing. Table's a little bit bigger because the 9178 has more radios, but same message being conveyed here. So always keep that in mind. We do have power injectors or PoE injectors in case you are talking to a customer, they don't want to invest in a UPoE switch. You can also get a power injector as well to support the UPoE standard. Next, when we're talking about Wi-Fi 7, right, who should we be targeting? So I'm just going to start with red light, right? Like if you have customers who just purchased Wi-Fi 6E, they're probably not going to have a ton of interest in Wi-Fi 7 today. The standard just released. Clients are still being manufactured to be Wi-Fi 7 capable. So currently today, Wi-Fi 6 and 6E, there's a larger footprint out there. So if they just bought 6E APs, it's going to be a tough sell to try to get them on 7 today. However, for yellow and green, customers who have Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi access points before Wi-Fi 6, this is the perfect opportunity to start having some of these discussions around Wi-Fi 7 and some of the benefits that it can bring to the table. Now, that being said, with some of the changes that we've made with the hardware, we're also adopting a slightly different licensing model as well. So many of you, if you're familiar with Meraki, may be used to the Meraki co-term model, which is still going to be there. So I want to preference that even though we're introducing a newer model, you can still, if you have customers who have other Meraki gear, switches, access or switches, firewalls, cameras, etc., that are part of a co-termination licensing model, you can still add on the Wi-Fi 7. But if you have customers who are up for renewal, this is the perfect time to transition them to this unified licensing model, to be able to get to take advantage of some of the benefits I'm about to mention. So over the past year or so, Cisco and Meraki have been having a tighter integration with their hardware. We've seen it with our switching portfolio, and we've seen it with our Wi-Fi 6E access points, right? We're using a unified hardware. And we're now taking that a step further and also having a unified software as well. Or I'm sorry, a unified licensing model as well. So what that means is when you buy a license for a Wi-Fi 7 access point with unified licensing, you are getting access to not only cloud, but also on-prem management that can be managed via the CLI, via a wireless controller. And so there's three main benefits that unified licensing is bringing to the table. Simplified ordering. What I mean by that is there's just now one universal product ID that we're using. There's no more -MR. If you're familiar at all with the on-prem side, there was always like a -A or -B or something like that for the country code. With unified licensing, we're able to decouple the AP SKU from both the boot mode and the geography domain. We're able to decouple that from the boot mode perspective because the AP is able to automatically discover once it's plugged in, hey, should I be part of a Meraki network or should I join a wireless controller? I'm gonna explain how it does that in a second. And then second, it will automatically know the geography domain because it has a built-in GPS chip in it to be able to determine the country of operation. So this is also nice if you are speaking with global customers and they want to move around some of their APs from location to location that are geographically dispersed. You can easily now do that with this unified licensing model. So again, this one license covers both on-prem and cloud. So we talked about simplified ordering, again, simplified deployment because it's able to auto-detect the boot mode. And then honestly, a simplified lifecycle because customers can now switch between on-prem wireless controller if they want to manage it that way and Meraki without having to call into support. So you might be wondering, okay, well, how is the access point able to determine if I should boot in, if I should be part of a Meraki dashboard or on-prem? So when you plug in the access point, the first thing that it's going to do is say, hey, let me check to see if I can connect to a dashboard and if I'm added to a Meraki network. If the answer to that is yes, then I will proceed day one moving forward to run on the Meraki dashboard and be cloud managed. If the answer to that is no, and I don't have an internet connection, I can't connect to the dashboard, and I do not see my SKU added in the network, then I will then look for an on-prem wireless controller to join to. And then it stays that way until you either decide to migrate it or you do a factory reset. And then going back to the point where simplified lifecycle, being able to migrate between the two, we have integrated a button in the dashboard where if you have a cloud managed Wi-Fi 7 access point, you are easily able to migrate back to a wireless controller management option. So this is a great use case if you're talking to a customer maybe in year one, they're like, hey, like we prefer cloud, and then I don't know, the company grows exponentially. By years 3 or 4, they're still getting that investment protection because it can also be used on-prem as well. So next, I know we have a few more minutes left. I just want to touch on some of the software features that we've also added in dashboard. Now, these are not necessarily tied specifically to Wi-Fi 7, but again, we're trying to add continuous value as we have added new products to our portfolio. The first of which is going to be intelligent packet capture. The main benefit of this is it's going to help alleviate some of the cumbersome tasks of the troubleshooting processes, especially when it comes to troubleshooting wireless, right? Like a lot of times, if you're troubleshooting a wireless issue, it can be very difficult to pinpoint, and you often have to take packet captures to be able to figure out what the various issues could be mapped to. So within the dashboard, we've actually changed the UI a little bit, so that way now you're able to see more than just a source IP source and destination when you're looking at a packet capture, but you're able to see the full details of a packet. You can do filters, it's color coded, similar to that of like a Wireshark, if you've ever used the Wireshark packet capturing tool before. And the three main views that you're going to be able to get with intelligent capture is going to be typical manual captures like we've done in the past, like I said, but the UI looks a little bit different. The second is you're going to be able to now store these captures on the cloud platform as well. Previously, you either had to download them, but now you have the option to store captures on the Meraki dashboard, I believe for up to 60 days. And then we also have the ability to do proactive packet captures. So this is going to allow you to automatically capture network packets based on predefined triggers or conditions. And I think this capability is crucial and adds a lot of value for proactive troubleshooting. And even if you do have to open a case with Cisco support, let's just say you have a customer who has a wireless issue, you can't figure it out as the IT admin, you need to open a support case with Meraki. Well, the proactive PCAP can automatically take a proactive PCAP if there's a roaming issue, if there's a disassociation issue from an access point. So that way you already have the data available for the support engineers to be able to analyze, because that's one of the first things they're going to ask for as soon as you open a case. A lot of times they're going to ask you for packet captures, so you can already present them with the data. So it should speed up that mean time to resolution. Secondly is going to be AIRRM. At a high level, radio resource management refers to the ability to automatically adjust radio settings to be able to optimize wireless performance. And historically, we had a feature in the dashboard called Auto RF. If you're familiar, it was similar, but we're kind of taking that to the next level. So we aren't just looking at snapshot data on what's happening currently right now on how we should adjust radio settings to give wireless clients the best user experience, but we're actually gathering historical trend-based radio frequency data from our network environment and putting that into our machine learning engine and kind of optimizing it from there. So like I said, this is going to give a better user experience for clients, as we're going to be able to put clients on the most optimal channel for performance and less interference to be able to send the traffic that they need, but also an improved admin experience to be able to give you detailed health information about your wireless environment, and then actionable steps that you can take to modify on some of the radio settings as well. And then last but not least is with the unified license, you also get access to Cisco Spaces, right? And so if you've never heard of it, this was a software that was historically on the Cisco side of the house that we're now integrating into Meraki. But it's a cloud-based platform that uses Meraki and Cisco infrastructure to be able to gather insights about how people and how devices are moving within an area, and being able to visualize that data in a dashboard or in the Spaces app. So this is going to allow the value that this is bringing is going to allow customers to be able to optimize space utilization, improve operational efficiency, or kind of create like a smart environment by being able to leverage location data within a building. And I think this has use cases across multiple industries, whether you want to do asset tracking for manufacturing customers, if you're trying to see what customer loyalty is like within a retail space, trying to see customer behavior analytics in retail, trying to figure out occupancy analytics, if you're a corporate office. So these are some of the values that Cisco Spaces can bring to the table by leveraging a lot of the data that we have inside of not only our access points, but the entire Meraki portfolio, to include our IoT sensors, our cameras, to be able to give you a lot of this holistic location and space occupancy data. And again, like I said, this ties into the Unify licenses that I had spoke about earlier. Like right at time, I know that I may have went a little bit briefly during the slides, but thank you all for listening. Hope you were able to gain a little more knowledge about some of the newest, our newest portfolio offerings with Wi-Fi 7, learned a little bit more about the standard, our new licensing model, and some of the new software features that we've added to dashboard. Definitely covered a decent amount of information today, and I know we may not have time to cover all the questions. So again, if you'd like to reach out with further details, please feel free to reach out to me. My email's on here, Megan, Lindsay, and happy to go into any of this in further detail. So that, thank you again for listening, and I'll pass it back over to you.
Thank you very much, Kyle. We appreciate that. Just a reminder, we do have the evaluation coming, so just take a peek at that. Let us know how we did, as well as how else we can help you. There's a number of options there for additional information, additional resources. And with that, we appreciate your time. Hope you enjoyed the pizza and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Thank you so much, everyone.